Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 410, Fate of the Furious, lap 15. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Milk Snob, the original 5-in-1 cover. For all of your baby covers and car seat and nursing coverage needs, check out milksnob.com.
When baby goes oops, check out Milk Snob. Welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. With us today, our guest is the co-host of You Are Good, a feelings podcast about movies, and the OC again, a business manager for people in the entertainment industry and a photographer. And also, I knew him, one of my favorite guests, when I was my short-lived tenure on 1999, the podcast, and he has returned to 1999 since I've left. One of my favorite guests from that show. Joining us today, Alex Steed. Hello, Alex.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me. It's perfect that you have a sponsor that's baby focused, because this movie has a baby in it, which led me to go to Wikipedia, the entry for the movie, and try to search the page for where did the baby come from.
Okay, so here's my question for you.
Yeah, we need to back up some.
Okay, for a long time on this podcast, okay, as you might know, me saying lap 15, this is our 15th time through the movies. For a long time, I'm like, I want hardcore fans. I want people who know all these things, who have seen it as much as us. At this point, I'm just like, are you good on the microphone? Are you living? Are you awake? That's fine. So I don't have any idea. I'm guessing based on what we were talking about briefly before we started, and also just that right now, maybe not deep history, but what is your history with the Fast and Furious franchise? Have you seen any of them other than Fate?
I saw 7.
Okay.
I saw 7 because someone else invited me to be on their recap show that I don't think the show ever came out. I just went on their show and talked about the movies, and I don't think it ever went anywhere. But, I don't begrudge them. It was a great time. And my friend Kasai Richardson, who I've known forever since we were young people working in New York when magazines existed. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to have Kasai on for a long time now. Our schedules have been here and there to do the first movie, because he really loves the first movie.
Got it.
So that's, and I mean, obviously, I'm a human that's alive in the United States. And so I am aware not only of the movies through trailers going back for 20 plus years?
25 years, yep.
Just through trailers alone, I've been able to track the saga. In pop culture, I know who's who. I know
enough
family.
to call it a saga. It is the Fast saga.
I know at the end of the movies, Dom gives a little motivational speech about family. I get it. And I didn't realize, I guess, that Hobbs was introduced to the series so late into it. But yeah, I only have glimmers. I've been told the plots in granular ways by people who love the movies in the past. But my brain also, these movies remind me a lot of a Mission Impossible movie, and that is not for my brain. I like a depressing indie movie where at the end you're like, who was I supposed to like? Because it's two notes happen. The second there's a person who we think is good and then maybe bad, or there are more than one action sequence, it's not that I do not like it. It's that my brain, those things don't stick for some reason. And I end the movie going, what happened?
I totally understand. I say this all the time on big action movies. I often lose there's just too much happening, and my brain just goes that was cool, and then I forget what happened. So I can relate, brother.
Well, what's funny about this one specifically is that very often we have said, what is Cipher's plan? What is Charlize Theron's plan in this movie? And we
kill a baby.
It's with the nuclear weapon, and then we say, well, what does she want? And all I can say is accountability, because that's what she says. But beyond that, I don't know that the movie even really knows. So the fact that your brain doesn't work like that, or doesn't stick, the movie doesn't really care about that. So you're fine. I also do want to later in this episode, because I just saw Final Reckoning, and I have thoughts comparing the two. We've compared the two for a while, because I love the Mission Impossible movies probably even more than these. They're different things. They're going for different things, but there's specific things specifically with this one that I was thinking about in regards to Mission Impossible. So I want to talk about that, but I'm glad. So you've seen 1, 7, and 8.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Awesome.
Do you have a favorite of those three?
7 is the one where we deal with the death of
Yes.
Paul Walker,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, I think like I think I was maybe, for someone who was not enmeshed in this, like I found that death tragic. This is a person whose life I've known my entire pop culture life. So I think like just like as watching a movie that dealt with that, I was like, okay, cool, that's nice. I like spending time with that. I think like probably the first, which I haven't seen in forever, is like maybe like sticks with me the most. Like
Sure.
as far as plot points go, I might gun to head be able to give some sense of what happened in that movie.
Joey, I think that at the end of this, after we
Yeah.
talked to Alex about Fate the entire time, that we should pitch him which movie of the franchise we think he would like that he hasn't seen yet.
I would love that.
Ooh.
Actually,
Just
Okay,
like,
yeah.
like we pick, like we're like, oh, like when we get like a feel for what you want or what you didn't like in this one, we'll just suggest one. You don't have to watch it, but we'll just suggest which one we think would hit some notes.
I
for
would
you.
love that.
That's good.
I would love that.
Okay, before we get into the movie itself and we can answer some of your questions and also just learn what you think of this one, we have some questions for you that even if you've never seen any Fast and Furious movie, we're trying to get answers that sort of go beyond the franchise. They're things that have been raised by these movies that normal people do not dwell on. But again, 15 times in, we are dead set focused on these things. We need answers. We'll never get answers. But we have 3 questions for you that, again, don't need any Fast and Furious knowledge, but come from these movies. So the first question, in the first movie, you might remember, you probably don't, because I'm assuming you are more normal
Very
than we
quick,
are.
yeah.
In that movie, there was a scene where Brian and Mia are doing the dishes, and Vince, who is the big sort of beefy, muscly guy, comes in to taunt Brian and like hit on Mia. And Mia says to him, "Hey, Vince, what's the name of that restaurant you want to bring me to? The one with the red candles, the wood tables, the picadillo, the food all over the place?" And he goes, "Cha Cha Cha." And she says, "Yeah, Brian, you can take me there." And Vince like storms out all mad or whatever. In that description, she describes a restaurant as having food all over the place. And
That's the first thing I was drawn
Yeah.
to just now.
we don't know if it was intentional, if it was a line flub, if there was meaning, if there was not. But Alex, if we say to you, "Hey, this was great. Thank you so much for joining us. Next time you're in New Jersey, come out. We'll bring you out to a restaurant. It's great. It's got these red candles. It's got this wood table. It's got this food all over the place." When we describe a restaurant that way, what are you picturing? What does food all over the place mean to you?
Isn't there like kind of a popular, maybe mid-popularity chain where you can throw peanuts on the floor?
Five Guys.
Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse.
Texas
Okay.
Roadhouse. Yeah, I don't think that that's what we mean, but I think that that's where my brain would go.
Nice.
Food all over the place. Like when you described that restaurant, I was going to say it was Chili's because that's the first impression that I have about a place that has food all over the place. But like, that would not instill confidence in the quality of a restaurant if that was the only way that you described it.
Weirdly, so we have asked this question of like close to 90 people now. 2 guests ago, Britt Freeze said Texas Roadhouse maybe. No one else has ever said that. So there's something in the air recently that Texas Roadhouse is getting its feelers out. It's urban marketing. It's whatever. It's street team is getting the word out about Texas Roadhouse that if you want food all over the place, come here. Also, I will say, we see the restaurant they go to. There is no semblance of food all over the place. So I don't know what she means.
It's just like a normal Cuban restaurant. Yeah.
The place that the place that I fell off being a vegan as a teenager was Texas Roadhouse. So shouts to them. I also I just got back from Miami, so I was like very happy with the opening of this movie where it's like sort of like Miami sounds like Cuba for a lot of obvious reasons.
Okay, Joe, keep that in mind for movie recommendation. He got back from Miami. Okay,
Just got back from Miami. There is, and this is like something like people like talked about with like both like love and like concern on my like precious white behalf is like there is like a pretty marvelous chaos to the like Cuban culture. Like, and people would be like, "We're trying to protect you from like how wild this is or whatever." And like, maybe that is a defining characteristic of this restaurant. I don't know.
Was it your first time in Miami, bud?
Yes.
Miami's cool. Rachel and I my wife went to school in Miami, and like we used to go to visit Miami all the time. So I'm glad you got to visit Miami. I think it's a pretty cool place.
I had no idea what to expect, and I loved it. Like, I was like, "This is amazing. This is amazing." It was like being in a different world. I loved it.
So speaking of Miami, there are 2 characters in Too Fast, Too Furious, which is set in Miami, Roman and Brian, who they're friends from way back. And in the 7th movie, another one that you've seen, they're around a table, and Roman, played by Tyrese, is bragging about all he has done for the family, all these missions he has single-handedly saved, how he took a plane out the sky, how he, parachuted from a car out of a plane, all this different stuff, right? And Brian says to him, the only thing I've ever seen you take down is no knees Denise at prom. So if you hear someone as described as having no knees Denise, no knees Brian, no knees Alex, no knees Joe, what does that mean to you? Is that good? Is that bad? We've heard it all. No filter. What do you hear? What do you see? No knees Denise.
I thought two things. One is she's under 4'11", and two, maybe is a fan of performing oral sex.
Fair enough.
Do these come up often?
We've actually said both. We've heard both sides, that she's prudy and doesn't.
Oh,
okay.
And
she never goes to her knees.
Yeah.
No knee. Oh, so no knee. Yeah. Okay. Got it. That makes sense.
But what you said also, that she has gone down so many times that she has worn away her knees.
Yeah. She just might not have knees anymore.
We've heard both. Yeah. And both make sense.
The short queen element is a new, that's not too common.
Yeah. I just thought that maybe it's just shins. She's like hips, shins, feet.
So now, also in that same movie, Roman, again, needs to shine bright like only Roman Pierce can, and he sings a cappella style Happy Birthday to a room full of strangers so that Dom and Brian can steal a car from behind a locked wall. So, Alex, if we say to you, hey, we're going to do a heist, Joe and I are going to go in this other room, steal a car, we need you to shine bright like only Alex Steed can. We need you to sing a song that's either so good it's breathtaking or so bad people can't take their eyes off the car crash. What song are you singing to distract a room full of strangers?
Oh my gosh.
Or your karaoke go-to
Well, my karaoke go-to, because I have no range, is I would sing either Ring of Fire, not a fun song, but a song people know, and so that's the way to go. Or The Misfits' Where Eagles Dare, which are both songs that people who have no range are allowed to sing. So cool. those are typically the songs I'd go to. I've been in situations where people are want you to be a duo on a musical, and that is not my deal.
It's tough.
I don't know. Maybe I would do. This isn't even a guilty pleasure. It was just a straight up pleasure. Oh, I know what it is. Like a Prayer by Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard karaoke song because there's a long instrumental at the end, so you gotta just sort of dance on stage for a while. But it's 5 minutes. You're earning car stealing time.
That and No Range, excellent choice.
Yes,
beautiful.
absolutely.
Lots of silence. And No Range.
I'm going to ruin people's day.
So do you think your interpretive dance skills are strong enough to carry through a couple minutes of silence?
So here's the thing. I think this is where my overall queerness was born, is that my cousin Marisa, who was 1 year older than me, and the reason I love that song is we would do interpretive dances of that song for the family,
for
an audience. It doesn't matter if you were into it. It's was there an audience? Did we have a choreographed dance? Were there moves? I could kill it for sure. I could just remember when I was that age.
Beautiful. And the last question, and this is Fast and Furious related, in this movie, in any of the three that you remember, do you have a favorite character or is an actor in one of these movies that you particularly relate to or enjoy watching on screen?
No, no one, truly no one that stands out. It's hard to, I would hate to say that it's, Dom, because that's so obvious, but I do find there to be, I think it might be Dom. Right. Because which is, again, it's so evident this is your protagonist or whatever, but and it's become so cliche. The family thing is so wild, but it's just really nice to have at least on screen this big, soft, tough dummy be family, I'm your dad, family. I love that so much. But I did I'll take fucking what's Hobbs's real name?
Oh, Dwayne Johnson.
Rock. Yeah.
No. Sorry, who's the British
Shaw.
guy?
Oh, Deckard. Yeah, Jason
Statham.
That guy rules so hard. He's so charismatic. And I would say, I'm torn between the two of them. I think I one time accidentally watched Crank 1 and 2. And by accidentally, I mean I was on a little bit of acid on an airplane, and I watched those two movies back to back, and I just find him remarkably charming.
I don't know how you did acid on an airplane. I'd have freaked out.
It was just a little bit. It was like not a microdose, but not a macrodose. It was like,
okay.
It was
a dose.
Sounds like a nightmare to me. I'm too old now, brother. I need like a whole like day plan, food. Like,
I'm 100 years old, but for some reason it has a good effect. I don't know why.
I do want to pivot off one thing you said into talking about this movie in particular, but before we get there, this is the oops, we should have covered that already lap, that in between the Fast and Furious movies, we're covering other movies that we should have covered on the podcast in the 400 whatever episodes we've done. We have not yet. But is there a movie out there, maybe it's one we've done, maybe it's not one we've done, that when you saw it, again, being a fan of sad dramas, this might not be exactly your kind of speed, but is there a movie that you like or that you've seen or that you would recommend, maybe something under the radar that is like, that's actually kind of like a Fast and Furious movie that maybe if these guys haven't watched yet or listeners to the show haven't seen yet, they should probably check out?
Oh, gosh. I just watched... Have you... Is it so like only movies that like could like potentially be
There's no wrong answer
in this category?
Or just movies that like people who like these movies might like for any number of reasons.
Yeah, anything you were like watching this and you're like, oh man, like this might remind me of something else.
Like my Google alert last night said that there is a new show called Motorheads on Prime Video that fans of the Fast and Furious will eat up because it's Fast and Furious meets what else? What other nonsense they say it meets? I don't know.
What's it on?
Prime. Ryan Phillippe and a bunch of kids.
Nice.
Wait, it's what is it called again?
Motorheads.
Ryan Phillippe is like back. What was the last thing he did? I haven't thought about him.
Divorcing Reese Witherspoon is the last thing he did, probably.
Oh, that's true.
That's so wild. Like, yeah, I had to like place him for a second, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was around for like a decade and a half,
and then disappeared for a decade and a half.
So I mean, some of these are pretty obvious, but Drive, obviously, love Drive, love Ryan Gosling and Drive. If you're looking for just like I don't know if like a person who loves this saga is going to like have the stomach for this, but like in Titan, there's a French gal who fucks a car.
Yeah.
And then a lot of other stuff happens. That's not the primary thing in the movie, but like it's
one of them.
It's certainly a centerpiece. And then we covered it like maybe a year ago, and I hadn't seen it for 100 years. But again, I'm just sort of going on car themes. Is Christine?
Yes.
Which is a John Carpenter movie, Stephen King, based on a Stephen King book. I would argue boring as hell in the movie department, but all of the like car effects stuff is so cool.
Very
like
cool
it's a really remarkable car movie that they really never sell making it scary to me, but it's definitely cool.
I love that. No, I think we covered that for a couple Halloweens ago, and I had never seen it. It's one of those ones where I'm like, how have I not seen this? How have I not read this? And we enjoyed it. But yeah, not exactly scary, but very cool.
Yeah, totally. I like it. I guess this is less the case, and I'm sure you've talked a lot about this, but it's like, it makes sense to me that the Fast and Furious came out, in 2001, 2002, something? It makes so much sense because it was like the end, like the very, very end of like actual American, like broader American car culture, like the meaning, I know that it still exists or whatever, but like there's like driving being the centerpiece, driving cool cars being the centerpiece feels further and further away. And I think that there's maybe some like economic realities to that. I think like the car movie is such like a quintessential piece of American pop culture and will be until this whole experiment is over. So I
don't think it'll ever die. I think you're right. I think that like even like if we had all self-driving cars, we're just gonna make like 2000s car movies, you know what I mean?
For
and, like,
sure.
Go back. Like we'll never lose this.
For sure. I grew like one of my best friends in high school, Scott Zagarella, one of the people I loved the most back in high school, was like he was 15 and like knew how to like fully restore a Mustang. Like he was like a Mustang nerd, and like that was like so like such a like a tangible part of my memories from being back then. Like I think like car nerdery is such an important piece of this culture.
I do wonder if like when the next generation, because like people like our age, people who are making movies now grew up with cars, but like the next generation of people who my fiance's niece like didn't really need she's like, I don't really want my license because like I don't really want to drive. Like there's like a group of kids who like don't either have cars or want to drive, and like when they're making movies and cars are not a part of them, then what? Like that might be, but like we have like another 15, 20, 30
We're
years
gonna have
of,
like deep philosophical looks at like what the Uber driver's psyche is about.
Yeah.
Because they're always in the back seat, you know?
Even like I'm in LA, and like California is defined by car culture. LA is as well. And you look at pictures of like what car culture used to be, not even going back to like the 60s and 70s, but just like, even going back like 25 years ago, and people had like very interesting cars. And now just like everyone has a fucking Tesla or a Mercedes.
Yeah.
If it's a cool car, if you have a quote cool car. Please don't get me wrong. I have a 2017 Mazda 5. So, but like that is your likelihood of seeing like interesting cars, although you'll see like races and stuff at night depending on which neighborhood you're in, so like that culture still exists, but like it's almost like there's this something monolithic happened to like cool car culture that I don't love.
I think that especially in LA, like I remember I visited a friend out there in 2012, and like everyone just had a Prius. Like you would like valet lots, they'd be filled with like, you know, at like a really nice restaurant, everybody just driving a Prius, because like that was like the signal, like I'm a good person. I drive a hybrid. And now it's a Tesla, or now it's not a Tesla because of, you know, who knows? I don't know.
Right. Now everyone who has a Tesla has a sticker on their Tesla letting you know that theirs is the exception.
I had a friend who bought a Tesla, does not love Elon, does not love Trump, very much the other way, but bought a Tesla after the election because she's like, the price was too good. And now, like, you know, I don't know. So it's a weird, who knows? I don't know. Anyway, okay. Fate of the Furious, you talked about how Dom is probably your favorite character. You know, this very specific type of central character, and the way that he maybe breaks typical norms with somebody like who looks like that. What did you think of him in this movie kind of being the villain? Like, did that work at all for you, knowing what you knew? Like, oh, Dom's the hero, Dom's a protagonist, but here, like, him going against the family, like, how did that work for you as a more casual Fast fan?
That happens through blackmail ultimately. Like he's blackmailed into sort of taking a heel turn like 20% into the movie.
Yeah.
And then like kind of like reemerges eventually, and it's fine. Like I think I was like more or less fine with it because like the setup makes sense. I mean, it's like a pretty classic action movie setup. Is at some point like someone has to turn because he's still looking out for family. You know, like he's got a gun to the family, as it were, in this situation. I just wonder, you know, there was a point earlier in the movie where someone's like, I think it's Hobbs who's like, I've seen this look in his eye before. He's gone rogue, and I'm like, he's done this before. Like, how do you guys trust him at this point?
Yeah, so I don't think, Joe, have we seen him gone rogue before this movie?
Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hobbs says literally, I've seen that look in his eye before. He's gone rogue. So he has a gone rogue look.
Well, I mean, he was kind of, well, because I guess he always goes rogue, but it depends on what perspective you're looking at it from, right? Because like he is a criminal, so like at one point, like, you know, Hobbs is like out to get him, and he like goes rogue, but like that's because he was the law, right? So yeah, I don't think he like ever like, I mean, not from if you're watching it like as a fan, you're being told that this is the protagonist, so like it's not like bad. But yeah, I guess he's gone rogue, right, Joey? Right? What do you think?
Mean, again, it depends on like which side of the law you fall on and what you're hoping for him to do. But in terms of our eyes, this is the first time where we're like, Dom, we're not sure that we really believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed, I don't know, this was like the least difficult thing to track for me. Was I was like, oh, like clearly she has something on him, right?
Okay.
Like that seems to make sense. And then watching everyone struggle with it, I think that was interesting, I guess.
So in that regard, where do you think the baby came from?
I don't know.
Okay.
Here's the thing. We open.
Yeah.
They're on their honeymoon. Michelle Rodriguez looks great. Dom looks great. They look great. Everything's awesome. She's like, you know what I was just thinking about? Why don't you have a baby? Basically, because she sees a dad and son relationship out in Cuba, and she was so charmed by that she's like, what?
And family the whole time.
You're talking about family nonstop, and he's like, like touches her belly, and she's like, no, that's not what the deal is. Why have we never asked the question? And I'm like, this is a weird roundabout way to have this conversation. And then we end the movie with him introducing to her a baby.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did the baby come from? Whose baby is it?
Would you like a Tilda rundown? Would you like us to tell you, or do you want to discover it? You can
No,
tell.
I want to discover it. If possible,
Okay.
I would take a rundown for sure. I assumed because of its name, it's Walker's baby somehow. But I don't, and they were like, we need to carry it on. But I don't know whose baby this is. Weird, because it's not even his. He doesn't even have it most of the time. The guy from Crank has it. And then he transfers the baby to him, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
sorry.
is Dom's baby. No, it is Dom's baby.
Okay.
So it is his, but the baby is from do you? How much should we tell him?
I'm so excited.
So what you need to know is that you would need to watch two full movies.
So we should just tell them, right?
Yeah. So, okay. So what it was supposed to be, what we think it was supposed to be.
No, don't start there. Start with the real story.
So in the fifth movie, the one where they introduced Dwayne Johnson for the first time, he is a cop in Brazil. He hires a local Brazilian cop to help him locally, whatever, take down Dom and the family.
But before that, we didn't mention in the fourth movie, Michelle Rodriguez is dead.
Oh yeah, she gets killed. So Dom and Letty, the epic love story, at the beginning of the fourth movie, Michelle Rodriguez is killed.
Dead.
Clearly she's not dead because she comes back. So in the fifth movie, Dom is single and ready to mingle, but not thinking about that. There is the only straight cop in a land full of crooked cops in the fifth movie. They bond because she lost her husband, Dom lost his girlfriend.
While she's hunting for him.
While she's hunting for him.
With The Rock.
By the end of the movie, they're kind of in love. By the sixth movie, they're kind of in love, but then Michelle Rodriguez, surprise, is back, had amnesia the entire movie.
Of course.
Doesn't really remember Dom, but by the end is like, we're going to give this thing another shot. Elena, this Brazilian cop, is like, you know what? She was here first. I'm going to step away. Somehow in the 3 or 4 years between the end of six and the beginning of this movie, she has a baby that is now 3 months old. So there's been 1 year of gestation, but 4 years of plot. So the baby on the plane is the son of Dom, who didn't know he existed until this movie, and Elena, a character who has not really been around. She's barely in 7, she's a little bit in 7, and she's kind of important in 6, but her real movie was 5 and sort of 6. So even normal fans who don't obsessively watch these might not remember she exists, and the fact that there's a baby
she shows
here,
up and is like, here's Dom's baby.
So the fact that you couldn't follow it makes sense. What we think it was supposed to be was that Brian is in a relationship with Jordana Brewster's Mia character, and we thought it made
that's
more
Dom's
sense.
sister. Yeah, that's
Dom's
Dom's
sister.
sister. Yeah,
I
We thought it made
somehow
more
know
sense that it would be their kid, because then Dom and Brian, Brian has to go against the family, Dom's the hero, but then Paul dies in real life, and so they're like, well, we have this idea for a kidnapped baby. What do we do? Because
and they just
canonically, Brian and Mia, Paul and Mia, Brian and Mia, Paul and Jordana have 2 kids in the franchise. So it makes sense for them to have a kid, one of those kids kidnapped. We already know about that baby. But it feels like the Fast and Furious was we have this idea for a villain kidnapping a baby. The character we want to have them kidnap it from no longer is in the franchise because we can't call him back because the actor died. Why don't we just invent another baby? Don't worry about the timeline. Here's a fake baby.
No, I know what, I mean, it seems so obvious to me.
Right, yeah.
They started, well, none of this is obvious, but it seems so obvious to me that it started with someone in the writer's room. I assume it's a writer's room. It's because it feels crowdsourced a little bit.
I think it feels like Vin Diesel's notepad on his phone, but at the same time, yes, same thing.
I assume what he wrote down is, we name a baby Brian. And then he brought it into somebody, and so they were like, okay, well, it can't be an existing baby because you can't rename a baby. So how are we going to justify a baby? And they were like, remember that cop from a couple of movies ago? Bingo, bango.
Well, you can't rename a baby, but you can apparently have a baby and not name the baby for months because you're waiting for the father to name the baby.
Fabulous point that I didn't even connect until that.
She's like, I gave him a middle name, but I'm waiting for his father to give him a first name.
I want to know what that
Wikipedia
birth certificate
page
looks like.
searching for son, baby. I'm like, someone's gonna draw the connection here. No, it is not there.
Yeah,
And so here's the other thing that I don't know if you put 2 and 2 together here at the end, because there's a lot happening in that final barbecue, including I know that they're all government workers or cops or whatever, but bringing a pistol to a family barbecue as a gift is kind of a weird thing that we've never really talked about yet. But in this movie, in this franchise, Dom names his son Brian, who's Paul Walker's character, but Brian, the character, is alive. They're paying homage to the fallen actor, but to a character who's still alive. Name him Paul. We'll get it.
That's such a good point. Name him Paul. There's a last shot at that barbecue where The Rock is sitting in a chair and he's like laughing at the baby or something. And he looks, I think like this is peak Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like he is maybe like 0.5% body fat in that scene. Like he looks like almost like a uncanny valley character sitting
Yes,
there.
yeah.
Like he looks incredible. Love it. Yeah, I think like my brain trying to wrap my brain around this movie the second we get like a nuclear submarine coming out of the ice is I was like, I am gonzo again. But here's the thing that I do love about these movies is there are many action movies where I feel that same way, but don't care. I get 20% in and I start to get lost and I don't care. I kind of love this for me that like I could watch any Mission Impossible movie 100 times and never have any idea what happens till the end because they're so charming and it brings me with it into the charm. And this series, I was really taken in watching it by how charming and smart ultimately it is for me to still care at the end.
Yes. If you never want to go back to these, but like I think that there's always something fun there. Like there's something for everyone and there's something fun even if you don't necessarily love like giant set pieces that go on for forever and stuff like that. Like I could relate. And like there's always that's what we tried. That's like I think that's the ultimate goal for us is that like we're just pitching that like there's something for everybody in these. You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to exclude anyone. Like you might just not like the part like one part of it, but like something about this you're going to be like, "Oh, and they're made with heart." And like you can see that too. So
yeah, F. Gary Gray made this movie. Gary Gray, who made Set It Off, made this movie.
Yeah,
John Singleton, who made Boys in the Hood, made Too Fast, Too Furious. Like there are auteur directors who have lent their
Did
craft.
James Wan make 100 of them?
He made 7. No, Justin Lin made like 5 of them, but
okay, gotcha.
James Wan made the 7th one, which made the most money. Yeah, so
yeah. Joey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We were talking about naming the baby, and to fill Alex in, last week we discovered on Vin's Instagram, as he was painting a portrait for Mother's Day, he signed the painting to his own mother, Vin.
Yeah. Alex, his birth name is Mark Sinclair. Vin Diesel is a stage name, but he signed the painting Vin. Yes, please keep going.
Yes. What do we think Helen Mirren calls Vin Diesel via phone or text?
Oh, you mean like you think because
not
like
the character, not Queenie. What does when Helen Mirren talks to Vin Diesel?
Oh, she calls him Mark.
Right? She has to just be like Mark, sweetie, Mark.
Oh my god!
Like directly, right? Like even though and he can't correct her, right?
No, I think that like all the older women that he has recruited the franchise are like allowed like the self-recruiting, like Rita Moreno's in one of these movies. Like all those women, like
crazy,
whatever they want to call
That's
him.
A real fact.
He's just thrilled of the opportunity.
It's so funny though because like again like as a fan of like older dry movies like Helen Mirren's reputation now is like a dame basically, but like she was like 20 years a young hot model that would have been cast like if this movie was made then she would have been cast as one of the characters.
We watched Caligula where she's like the sex out.
What was the wife, the butcher, the
cook, the wife, or thief and lover. Yeah, like she's like naked through most of that. It's just like what is going on?
Yeah. Helen at some point like things. I don't know who was on her marketing team or whatever, but at some point they were like, we're gonna make her a royalty. Basically.
Well, 2 things happened.
Really
there was that thing that happened, and also like around the same time, like when she plays the Queen in The Queen. Maybe that part started before that. I don't know. Or she around 2007 or so was just like, I want to shoot a rocket launcher in a movie. I want to be in the movie Red.
I love Red so much.
And I think from then on, she's just like, oh no, action movies are fun. Like I've done like dramas and like, whatever my entire career, but like sometimes it's fun to just like blow shit up. or being
You know,
near
Alex,
things
that
blow up.
she was like, she's only in them because she said in an interview, they were like, what movie would you like, what's a movie that you would like to be in? And she's like, I really want to join Fast and the Furious. And Vin heard it and he's like, we can do that.
How would you not?
Right? No,
if
yeah,
you
but I'm
heard that,
yeah,
you'd be like, how could you not? It would be irresponsible.
I want to talk about Mission Impossible because, Alex, have you seen Final Reckoning?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
Joe, what's your I don't know what your history is with the Mission Impossible
I've
movies.
seen them, but like I told you, I have a hard time with action movies. You know what I mean? Like I like Tom Cruise. I don't hate him. Like Mission Impossible's cool. I've seen the originals. I haven't seen like any of the new ones because it's just like
the new ones are the good ones. Like
I
mean,
know you guys love them. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 through 7. 4 through, I mean, really, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout are like 3 of the best action movies of all time. There's something interesting that as I was watching Final Reckoning, which is almost 3 hours long, so it's, Fast and Furious length.
Yeah.
Alex, the thing that we complain about is like maybe a strong word. We talk about a lot in here is that at this point in the Fast and Furious, no character is ever at risk. Like, characters don't die, and when they do die, they just come back from the dead a few movies later. Like, they're always just here. They're here for a paycheck. And, like, you like seeing them on screen, but at the same time, there's 25 people in these movies that could be leading any other movie. Brie Larson's in these, Jason Momoa's in these, John Cena's in these. It's just, like, the list goes on and on and on. And it's like, there's not enough screen time to accomplish. Like, every movie is Avengers Endgame, basically. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching The Final Reckoning, and I'm like, there's something like where Ving Rhames has been there every movie since the first movie, but other than him, Ethan's crew changes. Like, there's always like a love interest, of a love interest. It's not fully
mostly
changed, but there's like a character that'll like pop in. Like Jeremy Renner was there for 2, and then like who's like mostly like Simon Pegg's been there since 4, so he's there 4 through 8. But like for the most part, like people from the previous movie like might drop off, but it feels more realistic in terms of like, this is a mission, this is a group of agents, they're people who are loyal to Ethan, but like they're not available or whatever, or this woman who like sort of like in Fast and Furious where Haley Atwell in the first part in Dead Reckoning Part 1, now just Dead Reckoning, is like someone they're tailing, and then she kind of gets like folded into the crew, and she's here for this final one. Like Tyrese is not there just because he's been there since the second one, right? Where it's like, oh well, we can't get rid of him.
Yes, yeah.
And there's something really dynamic where like I'm looking at the final mission in this final movie where there's like 5 or 6 people, and I'm like, this is a weird bunch of group. Like it works for the movie. Like it makes sense for the movie. But it's like, that's not the Mission Impossible crew that I picture in my head. It's strange.
Oh,
and I was just comparing it to Fast and Furious, and like, I
which
don't know
one do you like better?
Or worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Like Fast and Furious is fun because like everyone's around, like it's a big party every time. But like Mission Impossible is like quote unquote better. So I don't know if you. I mean, it's hard to really talk about Mission Impossible when Joe isn't really super familiar, and like Alex, you haven't seen the new one. But like, I'm wondering like, is a movie that keeps its core cast over and over, sort of at the detriment to its own plot and story, is that good? Is that fun?
I don't think I think that this has a lot to do. There's a lot of reasons for what I'm about to say, but the primary reason is Tom Cruise. Is like the Mission Impossible franchise is about Ethan Hunt. Like it's not about a coalition of people to me. There's obviously, like you said, there are arcs where you have people that we see somewhat regularly. But it is like largely about him and his mission. And then like there's just something about Tom Cruise where like every movie he started making after like 1992 is somehow about Tom Cruise. And like there's like a lot of that's going on. But like what I really like about the Fast and the Furious movies is like it is about the ensemble, and the ensemble's so big that like sometimes you forget that people are even in it. But like I like that I get a sense like when I see some of these people, like even though I don't know like what their little histories are, like I understand the role they play, and I'm just like happy to see them. And in that way, like it feels like it has like less pathos as a movie overall as a result, because it's like, who am I supposed to be connecting with outside of like Dom, because like he's sort of like a regular part. But like I understand that they sort of vary from that. But yeah, like Mission Impossible also, like it seems like with the exception of this, and I was kind of surprised at the stakes in the Mission Impossible movies, like the global stakes seem to be quite high all the time, and in this a lot of times it's like cars, honor, family. You
hit a point. Like, there's a pivot point specifically at 5 of Fast and the Furious where, like, they start saving the world. That was an interesting thing that I noticed happening here. Yeah, so, like, it becomes an inflection there, and now we are also just running Mission Impossible missions until the end, essentially. Like, it's just, like, nuclear, blow up the Earth, fight the giantest bad guy you've ever imagined over and over again.
I would love to see. I'm like a big fan. I guess I guess Star Trek is doing. Oh God, sorry. I guess Star Wars is doing this now with their environment or their IP, where like not everything anymore is within the genre of the original movies. Like sometimes you get like other genres and stuff. And like I would love to get like a quiet procedural thriller about like the like a court case related to any one of the things that are happening in the Fast and the Furious movies.
We've never pitched that one. We've definitely pitched a lot of TV shows of things that we want. A nice court drama would be hilarious.
I'm a huge fan.
Who would be the lawyers?
I would love it.
Oh, fuck. I knew you were going to ask that. Who the fuck are
Good
the
question.
Would they be
lawyers?
prosecution or would they be defense?
Maybe we get both. We see
Yeah.
we get a little volley.
Your
It's like
Honor,
a-
in the case of family v. family,
No, I mean, the family's always going to be the criminals, right? Like, they
Yeah.
have to be on, like, the prosecution's going to be the DA against Dom and the family. That's how it
I would
has to
love
be.
that. Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, yeah.
He should be in it. Love him. Very serious. I think we talked about Go, right, Joey? Was that the movie that we had?
we did talk about Go, yes.
Yeah, so that's a funny common denominator. I'd love to see
do you know,
Walton
hold on,
Goggins.
do you know Timothy Oliphant was supposed to be Dominic Toretto?
No.
They wanted him and he turned it down because he had just done Gone in 60 Seconds and didn't want to do the same kind of movie twice in a row. But they wanted him for this. He said no. Vin comes in, becomes... Like, I love Timothy Oliphant. I think he's a wonderful, charming, handsome actor.
Wouldn't
I love
have worked.
Justified. I love everything. But, like, it's a different world. Like, it's
A completely
it's
different world.
It's not it.
No, well, the important thing that ended up playing out over time, and I don't know how much they planned this, is that like Vin is Papa. Like he's not a dad. He's like a big, soft man who can beat someone up on your behalf, and you can give a hug, and like he can reaffirm. And Tim Oliphant feels like a predator, like a little bit. Like there's like a little, like not
Yeah.
outright. Like
Yeah.
I find him charming, and I actually that's like makes me attracted to
He's
him
a little
in a way.
dangerous. Yeah.
But he's dangerous. Yeah, yeah. And like Vin Diesel's obviously like physically dangerous. I mean, like personally, it sounds like Vin Diesel might also be dangerous. But the on screen, the character is like he's like fucking Big Hero 6. Like he's like a big
He's
a-
Baymax.
he's a big stand-in Papa. We love it.
For the first time ever, I noticed in this watching. First of all, I totally forget. Every time we watch this one, I forget that this is the New York City one. Like, I know that they're in New York City, but like that feels so insignificant to the plot, considering that they're in New York City for
Well, I
like.
can tell you next week for the Goofs, it's not insignificant to the people who complain about this movie online, but keep going.
Okay. For the first time ever, I noticed that when The Rock pulls up and takes takes Roman out of the water, he yells. Do you know what he yells to him? Mm-mm. It's "Yo, shrinkage," and I was like, we got a Seinfeld reference
Oh, right.
in the Fast and the Furious that I've never caught before this watch, and I don't know how my brain has never connected those two
That's
things.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny in that same scene. Letty is like Roman. Like, look, it's a prison of his own making. It's a tomb of his own making. Whatever. He chose this unsuitable car just to look flashy, look fancy, whatever. But he is like driving for his life, and Letty's like dunking on him, like not helping him. Just like, you got into this, you can get out of this. Like, she's just being mean, and like it's funny in the scene. I'm just like, that's really cruel.
Yeah. What if he would have died? They came back to save her. Like, what is... in other movies, not maybe specifically this one, but sure.
I really like does this thing happen that happens at the beginning of this movie where okay, so they're in Cuba, honeymoon.
Yeah.
He's there for the culture, he says. And the coffee because he has a morning routine. A loan shark has control of his cousin's car, and he's going to get the cousin's car by racing the shark.
Yeah.
And he ends up winning with this car on fire, blah, 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 blah.
He shoots it into the ocean.
Shoots it into the ocean. Lots of amazing. Well, it's just from out the gate. You're like, I'm charmed. This is going to be incredible. And then he has a crowd of Cubans around, just sort of observing the interaction. And I'm assuming none of them can hear what's actually saying. They're actually saying, but they cheer accordingly, etc. And then the guy's like, "A deal's a deal. I'm honorable. Here's your car, which is my car, but I'm giving you the keys to it." And he He pushes his hand away in such an amazing, dramatic, and like slightly bitchy gesture.
Yep.
And he's like, "No, it's yours. The respect is all I need." And does this happen often where he goes and does challenges and then just for the respect of the challenge? Because
So
I would
there's
watch a whole series based on that alone.
There's a two-pronged path that happens here. Sometimes they need to go race to collect cars for the mission, and like often from the first one, Brian's like what is it, like, you keep the car but I'll take the respect or whatever, like that. So there's also there's other times where they're racing and it's just for respect,
Like truly beautiful. And I like kind of understand, like I understand the purpose of that up front, because we needed to have it like reaffirmed that, you know, he's an honorable man before we have to be like, what 180. But like I really love the idea of him just respects enough. He puts it in his respect bank and everyone knows they can respect him, family, etc.
Well, what's remarkable is the quick turnaround. Like, that guy helps him out later in the same movie. And they all sort of like, you might not remember that guy from an hour and a half ago, so let me just show you remember that first scene? Like, here's the guy, and like, here he is. Like,
these movies are long. These movies could, not long as in draggy, but like a lot happens.
Yes.
So like I would have been against this like 10 years ago, but I'm old now. A movie could benefit by being like a quick cut, like a quick flashback to remind us who a character is. Like I could have used being like, this is the guy you saw in the first 5 minutes of the movie. We meet so many people, my brain is feeble.
Also, at this point, Dom is internationally renowned for his racing skills. So, and we've never seen him in Cuba. So I think that he just needed to establish himself as the best racer in Cuba beyond taking care of his cousin as well. Just to be like, here, I'm known here too. Like his name, like everybody knows, like when he goes to any new place, they're like, oh, you're Dom Toretto. We've heard about you. So like now he just needed to back it up. He needed an excuse to be like, I am the fastest. I'll beat the fastest guy with the fastest car on the island with a beater, just because I'm that good. So like he needed to just take over. That was like his stamp on Cuba right there. Like,
imagine all the people you have in your brain, right, that you don't know, but you know of them from their reputation. Like, do you have one in your brain who's like the fastest street driver? Like, is that a thing?
Well,
Max
Alex, what you need to know
Verstappen.
is that in this world, Dom never loses. The only race he ever loses is one that he intentionally loses to ensure that Brian gets a little bit of more money because he is about to become a father.
Of course.
It's a baby gift to him.
The third movie has none of these characters and is about learning how to Tokyo drift in Tokyo. And we are led to believe that Dom, who has never once shown any kind of mastery of Tokyo, has Tokyo drift and won races across Japan and then dethroned the best racers in Japan just effortlessly in a car not built to drift. So he is so good
in
at
a style
racing.
that's not his normal style of driving or racing.
In a world where this is all happening, yeah, we know about him.
I love it. I truly do love it.
It's so much fun trying to explain like
charmed
lore to you who's seen just like seven, because there's so many giant plot hole gaps that you're just like everything we've said is 1,000% just what the movies are telling you.
How does Hobbs fit into all, like, when does he get introduced and what is his relationship with everybody?
So Hobbs is brought in the fifth movie as the ultimate cop to take down the family. In the sixth movie, he sort of begrudgingly recruits the family to work for him because they're the only ones good enough to stop the new criminal he's trying to be brought down. And then in 7, he was filming The Mummy, I think, at the time or something. And so he's kind of in it, but not really in it. And they call him in for a favor at the end. And in this movie, he's just like basically a former cop, kind of still sort of cop, who is just there to help because they have moved from criminal to sort of neutral party available to the highest bidder. And so they just work with him in this movie to help save the world.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hobbs in this movie, though, there's a question I think you can both answer. Do you think Taylor Swift has seen this movie? She's mentioned early on. Do you think she has seen The Fate of the Furious?
Now that she's dating Travis Kelce, that glug, that big glug definitely's made her sit through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, he's definitely been like, babe. we gotta do the Furious marathon this weekend. And she's like, okay.
He's like, they mention you. It's great.
Yeah. That's what you're 100%. That's his in. I bet like he might have even started with this one and did the same thing that we just did with Alex. So she's like, "Who's this guy?" And he's like, "Well,
God.
wait,
Imagine.
4 movies ago, she was dead." You know, and like just does this to
my
Taylor
wife
Swift.
the other day, I said, and I can relate so hard with the scenario you're just talking about, because my wife the other day was like, I said post-hardcore, and she was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh God, okay."
You open the mansplain
Get
box. I'm so
ready. Here's a playlist. Here's an hour of conversation. Yeah, totally. Wild.
Joey, why does Dom have a garage door opener for Cypher's plane? I've never noticed that.
Aren't they kind of universal? Like, can't they?
He has like a zipper. What is a flipper? Like he has like a no. It looked like a Craftsman garage door opener, and he just hit. But like, why is he controlling the door of the plane? Like, there's like 20 people on there. They have cameras everywhere. They're like the techiest tech people ever. And Dom just has a garage door opener for it. Like that was it. So, and if to your point, if it's universal, why don't everybody just have one and they just break into Cypher's plane, drive their car up there and go catch her?
Well, because it never lands.
Except if you're picking up Dom.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
I think we've talked about this before, and we've already talked about the scene in this movie, but the scene in which Cipher basically recruits Dom to work for her by blackmailing him. All she says to him is she knows his name and where he gets his coffee. And he's like, oh my God, holy shit, this girl's serious. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I know, like, she in that same scene shows him a picture of either Elena or the baby or something, something like that, right? That he, like, recognizes as, like, oh my God, like, actual things that I care about. But, like, she says something about, she calls him Dom, how's the honeymoon, and then mentions where he gets his coffee. And it's like, that's not really, like, any private eye who spends, like, 45 minutes watching a guy is going to know that stuff.
Also,
Yeah.
you could have had, like, Letty blabbing. You know what I mean? Like, she could have made a friend at Pilates or something.
I do like, though, because I think the trend tends to go the other direction, where everything that doesn't need more explanation ends up getting 45 minutes of explanation. And the way I always describe this, I feel like this trend started with, it didn't start here, but the most egregious early version of it I can think about is when Rob Zombie remade Halloween. And he was like, hey, maybe we need 45 minutes of background on Dr. Sam Loomis. And it's like, we don't at all. Like, that is not a thing that we need. Let's see him in college. Like, it was so insane. But
And let's also remove any kind of empathy and sympathy you have for these movies and just make them, like, mean.
Let's just make them, like, killing machines. I did like what you're describing, where I was like, it is just inferred because we learn enough about her in like one of the briefings that, like, we know sort of what she's capable of, and we know sort of like what her power is, that I think we're left to assume that a follow-up conversation happens that, like, we don't need to know. We just know that she knows who his family is. She has that information. We know what her power is. And then we cut to knowing that Dom's now working for her. And that somehow feels more satisfying than what I imagine 10 minutes of over explanation would look like.
Well, I actually do think so. That actually answers another question I had. So there is a podcast I listened to called With Gorley and Russ, and I just listened to their episodes about the Final Destination movies, getting ready for Bloodlines. And in the fourth movie, which is everybody universally recognized as the worst Final Destination movie, Matt Gorley, one of the hosts of that podcast, says they do this thing that I hate, where, like, the first line of the movie is like, remind me why we're here instead of at the beach or whatever. And, like, it's just like, that's just lazy screenwriting. It's just like, we don't know as the audience why you're here, and they can't figure out how to actually, like, explain, like, why they're at the racetrack. So it's kind of saying, like, remind me why we're here. So I was going to say, Roman saying, why are we traveling like this again, like in that refrigerated truck to New York? It's the same thing where Alex is just saying, it's just like, we don't really care why things are the way they are. Just get to the car race. Like, that's all that we care about. So, like, it doesn't need to be, like, layered storytelling as much as we would like that. We don't need to know that Cipher actually knows about Dom. She can mention the Letty's name and the coffee place, and that's it. We don't need to know why Roman, like, Roman can do VO from afar in a booth somewhere and be like, why are we in this truck again? Like, that's fine.
Yeah, well, it's like, so we know she's evil. She's a white girl with dreadlocks in Cuba. Like, that's all I needed is I was like, oh, this bitch is trouble.
I think that this is a good point to go back to, like, we always talk about how bad it is that we've expanded the family so much, and these movies have like very like long run times, and the screen time is cut up. But I think that that's actually like a good part of this, because we have that, and because they want to use all the characters, we don't have time to spend 20 minutes explaining why Cipher recruits Dom. Like you have to go with like the quickest denomination of this, because we don't have the time to do any other version. So maybe we are getting something that we really like from this by having the family be huge.
Yeah, maybe.
Can I ask a question that I don't even mean to be absurd? I mean it to be
You're
true.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does Cat Williams ever show up in these movies? Because
No,
I
he
would love
should.
it.
He does not. That's a good. We've never tried to add Cat Williams either, but I think he's like kind of problematic.
Well, no, he was.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the movie One of Them Days with Sis and Keke Palmer this year. and he was,
That's why I asked, because I
was
just
so good in
saw
that
that,
movie.
and he was perfect.
But
He
you
was-
know who does show up in these movies eventually?
No.
well, it's two people. Two people that there's two people I'm guessing that you might refer to that are both kind of in the Cat Williams sphere.
Is
Sort
it
of.
Jay and Silent Bob? I don't know why.
No.
No.
Yeah.
We've got a Kevin Hart in Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and we've
Of
got
course.
Pete Davidson in Fast 10.
I'm compelled by both of those.
Really?
I want to see Pete Davidson in particular, because he feels so not of this fabric. I like Cat Williams. I can
He plays
see.
Pete Davidson in Fast and the Furious, I think.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, no, not Pete. What was it?
Oh.
Not Blank Davidson. He plays Pete Davidson. Not now that he got all of his tattoos removed and he looks like normal.
He got all his tattoos
Yeah,
removed?
You didn't
Yeah.
see this?
No.
Blank Davidson? He was doing these like water commercials or something. You haven't seen this?
Yeah, he's like $250,000 into laser removal right now.
Yeah. Right? It looks strange.
Whoa.
Yeah, your face said everything.
Your face just turned.
I just
You didn't
can't,
know
like,
about
as
this?
no, because I'm not online. As someone who is not afraid, but like afraid of needles, to spend that much time in the chair and then to spend that much time and money to like get all that undone, it's like, man, that is a series of decisions.
Well, his explanation is like, he was like, I was on a ton of drugs when I put those on, so I.
Which is fair. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I assume. He's like, now I want to not remember that time I was on a ton of drugs. So I was like, all right, that's good. I wish I had $250,000 for tattoo laser removal.
Do you?
I don't have it for anything.
Okay. I wish I had $250,000. Well,
You would know best, I would think, of the three of us. How much money do you think he spent on the tattoos that he's spending $250,000 to remove?
probably $250,000.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
spent
it's like
Assuming
$1
that he was
for
going
$1.
to like good artists in New York and like at least 1-to-1, if not more.
Yeah, I think in New York he was spending like $300 to $500 for like an inch by 2 inch tattoo.
Yeah, like
And
an
he was
hour's worth. Yeah.
Covered.
Yeah.
He was tipping, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, for sure. He had that SNL money. I'm thinking that he was like, you're famous enough, you're high enough up, you're going to like fancy tattoo artists, like seeking them out, traveling possibly for the tattoos. Like he was in it. Like he spent at least $250,000, I think.
Absolutely. I agree.
There's a line in this movie that I never really heard before that I think is funny. In layman's terms, she carjacked a submarine. It's like, that's not, you could just say hijack. You don't need to say carjacked a submarine. Like,
But
in
they needed
layman's
it for
terms,
us.
Yeah. To a car guy like you, she carjacked a submarine.
You would only understand it in this terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Eastwood kid, does he stick around? Or is this the only time we get him?
He is, so... I don't know. They don't know what they're doing with him. That whole element, like the whole Mr. Nobody thing, just goes away. Like it becomes the
Really?
most important. It becomes the most important thing, and then it disappears.
It felt like it was established.
It was established, and it becomes much more important, and then also becomes completely irrelevant.
My God. Yeah. So I did really, really like also, I love, obviously, I'm just like a sucker for studies in contrast. The Rock soccer team, the girls soccer team.
Yes.
The little dance that they have going on, and it's largely a group
Okay.
of like young twiggy white girls as them doing that. And then all of it's pointed out that there are more moms than daughters in the crowd watching him do his thing.
Mm-hmm. They all love him.
And he has to go to Tay. I was thinking about like speaking of cost of tattoo removal, like you can't get away with the line of I'm taking a whole team of girls soccer to go see Taylor Swift anymore.
Well, Well, yeah, because that's
Like,
also
just
the thing. Like,
financially.
all of our family,
absolutely not.
like, you know, stole $11 million each in the fifth movie, but Hobbs was not part of them. Like, he's not a multimillionaire. He's working on like government salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he can't afford. You know what kind of present that is at the end of the season?
huge.
$1,000 tickets for 20 girls?
Even
You
face
wanna get
value,
on
it's
there,
like
yeah.
$400, right? So, like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy to think about, dude. That joke is way different nowadays.
That joke is way different nowadays.
although it still hits though. Like, there's references in these movies that do not hold up, and even
This one's better than
even
most,
newer
yeah.
references than that. But like,
Who do you think built Cipher's plane, and how did the government agencies not watch her do it? Because okay. So Big Orange just gets a plane gifted to him from what, Saudi Arabia or whatever. What was it? Where did he get it from? The Saudis?
Yeah, the Saudis, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were like, it's going to take like a decade to fit this to be Air Force One, which I get is like maybe a different tier. But like, I think Cipher's plane probably could compete with Air Force One. Like, it's pretty complicated, right?
You know what no one remembers in the context of what you just said is prior. Do you remember what the plan for Air Force One was prior to this? Do you remember this?
No, what is it?
This cleared this out of our taste buds. Is Elon was working with Boeing. So just a disaster waiting to happen to custom design a new Air Force One.
Ah, that makes sense. But Elon's on the outs today. He's already banned.
Yeah,
so,
who's been out? Who's been out? The Saudis are in.
Saudis.
Sorry,
are
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine.
You were making a great point.
No, I'm just saying, like, but like on top of the like, so you have to procure a Boeing or an Airbus. So like, there's some trace of that. It's a fucking plane. It's a huge ass plane. And then she has to like so she's been building this plane. Like, she couldn't have just bought an old Air Force One plane.
No.
Like, she had to like make this herself. So that's like years of engineering and work that she kept under wraps that I've never thought about until I was thinking about the Saudi plane gift this time watching it. And I was just like, how did like nobody catch that she's like $60 billion into this like insane plane? And just like nobody spotted it.
It's like that meme that shows like Master Splinter talking to all the animated turtles about the import of like keeping their identities quiet and not being noticed. And then like the next panel is the turtles blimp hanging above the city. And it's like,
Exactly.
when did the turtles build a blimp?
Yeah.
These are good questions. How do the Russians fit into this?
I don't think we ever fight the Russians, do we?
Aren't there Russians in this whole?
they're in Russia in this movie.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's what I mean. But they're like not even really fighting. They're fighting Cipher in Russia, not like
Got it.
Russians.
Okay, excellent. That's what's
Yeah.
happening. It's a global scale.
Yeah, everything's global now. After the seventh movie, where it's personal, from here on out, every movie they just have to save the world.
Alex, at one point they make up a country so that they're fighting.
Yeah, but that's also a Tom Cruise thing. That's just like we're not going
Yeah.
to name the villain in Top Gun Maverick so that all three of these countries that it might be can also still go to the movie and not think it's actually them.
Smart.
Yeah.
They do that in Avengers too, right? That
Yeah.
fake Serbia.
Wachovia.
Yeah.
Alex, you have any other notes, other questions, other thoughts about? Did you enjoy watching it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I did. I mean, it's like I feel the same way, and I think like maybe it's just it's in. I don't know if it's a age brain atrophy thing or it's like I have just imprinted the culture. The visual culture I like is imprinted on me, and it's hard to like other stuff or whatever. But it's like I feel the same way watching this that I do about listening to like what is agreed upon to be like good modern pop music. Because it's like, oh, I'm enjoying this. It
Yeah.
is just not sticking in my brain.
Right.
I'm not gonna know what this is later and then go pick it up. Every time I listen to it, in fact, it'll be like I'm listening to it for the first time, but I'm still enjoying it. I felt that same way about this. And for similar selling points where it's like it's big, it's bold, it does stuff, it sort of like triggers a bunch of stuff in you, and then there's just grand charisma. Like these movies are dripping with
Yep.
Charismatic characters, sort of like interesting relationships. Like you're rooting for the people. Like in all, it's fantastic.
Cool. Are you?
I
ready
would-
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, should we suggest first, or do you want to do the quiz first?
I want to do the quiz first because then that might inform
That might
us.
influence us. Okay, you're right. This is gonna play heavy. Okay, fair enough.
So Alex, gonna play of it.
Are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
I am, absolutely. Here's the deal. Here's what you should know.
Yeah.
I'm a Miranda.
Okay.
Joe, who do you think he's going to be? Based on that, who do you think he's going to be? Joe knows Sex and the City. I don't really.
A Miranda. I think he's going to be Ramsey.
Okay.
Wow. Is he the most joyless character?
No. Well, no. She's a sex object. Does that help?
Jeez,
Calculated.
Right, sure, yeah.
Sex object. Calculated.
Okay. I'm excited.
Doesn't really show a ton of emotion. That's what that was.
Is Ramsey the one who's like, what's my last name?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
the hottest. I'm the hottest female character.
Yes.
In my view.
So we found in the early days of this podcast, we found a quiz online, which Fast and Furious character you are. We didn't like it. We made our own. So we have 7 questions.
So excited.
7 questions. Each question has 6 multiple choice answers. You have to pick one. We don't have, combination technology. So you have to pick one answer for each question. At the end of this, I will tell you which character you are. Question number 1, Alex. How fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter?
I mean, I feel like a Mazda 5 from 8 years ago is basically a Prius. Okay. It's a little faster than a Prius. Okay. What's the one that's a little faster than the Prius that you
Lamborghini Murcielago was. It's a lot faster, but it is the
but these answers don't need to be real. They can go on like how you feel in your soul too. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to be they don't have to be true to life. It's a feeling.
That's helpful. Knowing that, can you read them one more time?
NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter. It'd be funny if you went slower now.
Yeah, scooter for sure.
No, roller coaster because it's like both fast and erratic and like kind of out of my control.
Cool. Question number 2, it's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one movie set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
I used to be the most, and now I'm more of a Charlie Brown.
Okay.
Perfect.
Alex, we're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you on the grill, saying grace, kicking back with a beer, babysitting, being the entertainment, or sneaking a snack?
Grill.
You've got time to kill. What are you doing? Grabbing a bite? Working on your car, hanging with friends, drinking a beer, working out, or doing some work on your computer?
Unfortunately, doing some work on my computer.
Describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
Oh God, it was literally a backyard country affair. I got married on in the cattle barn of an agricultural fairground alongside 5 other people.
Very cool.
That's super cool. Yeah.
You just won the lottery. What are you buying? Your own garage, a private plane. I'm gambling it all away. My childhood home, a fleet of cars, or a new life.
Oh God, that's so good. The last one's so grim. I buy the home. I would like to own more homes, I guess. Buy the home.
Okay. And finally, what is your drink of choice? Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or Joe's going to the bar. Just get me one of whatever you're having.
Corona.
Ooh.
Oh, I know what you are.
Yeah. You were
overwhelmingly
through the first 5 questions. After the 5 questions, you were Ramsey. You were right. But the last 2,
oh no,
really
big swing
hard
for Dom.
pivoted you. You are Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah.
Alex, your stoic attitude is intimidating. Your cool demeanor under pressure is inspiring, and your expertise under the hood is envied. But all these pale in comparison to your loyalty to your family. You may claim to live your life a quarter mile at a time, but there's nothing you wouldn't do for the people in your life. And at the end of the day, nothing makes you happier than throwing something on the grill and sharing a few Coronas with your familia. And you drive like the
wind blows.
What a delight! That's amazing.
One of our fans wrote all the descriptions at the end for us. Shout out Wes.
Wes, beautiful job. I moved.
There you go. Wait, I was going to say something. Oh, I want to see, I don't remember. John was on here. John also has not really seen these movies. He was Mr. Nobody. John Brooks, host of 1999 podcast, was the Kurt Russell character for Mr. Nobody. So
amazing. That tracks to me.
I have 2 movies in the franchise to recommend to you.
Can I go first so you
Go
don't
for
steal
it.
mine?
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling this out as you were talking and absorbing, and at one point you were very enamored with the softness of Dwayne Johnson, and I would like to pitch a Fast and the Furious Presents movie, not canonically in the franchise.
Wow.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh,
It is
yeah,
Jason Statham
looks gay
and
as
The
hell.
Rock, and they're in a buddy cop movie, and it's just silly and fun. I think it will be up your alley. That's what I would recommend.
I'm
for
so
your-
on board. I saw the trailer for that movie,
Yep.
and I felt the trail. I saw it several times because I watched a lot of movies in the
Yeah,
theaters.
yeah.
I felt it was like the trailer alone was erotically charged in a way that made me want to watch that movie.
It is.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank
so
God.
that would be my.
Thanks for reminding me
suggestion
it even
to-
exists. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. You don't need to know any backstory. Like I think we gave you a lot of like what you need. Like not even like other things, but just like if you like Jason Statham, you like The Rock, buddy cop movie.
That's
those
exciting.
two hanging out.
Yeah, there is something that we say a lot, that most of these movies, because they are trying to make $1 billion, have the service have to be used as someone's first movie. They can't be like so deep in the weeds. However, a couple of the more recent ones, including I would say this one, don't really make sense as your first one. So Hobbs and Shaw, on the other hand, I think does make good sense as the first one.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I was going to say, we mentioned earlier Too Fast just because of Miami. I don't think that's one to watch. I would say my recommendation, the real recommendation, would be Fast 5, because number one, it's the best movie in the franchise. Universally
Very
agreed,
true.
best movie in the franchise. Number two, you can understand where Dom's baby mama comes from and
Important.
sort of begin to track the baby journey, even though there really literally is no baby journey until the baby appears. But I would say Hobbs and Shaw is a great pick if you want some fun, if you want a modern movie, if you like the Hobbs and Shaw characters, and 5 if you want the undisputed best movie in the franchise and also to understand where baby from.
It's also like we said, it's the inflection point that this is where they pivot and they're now action movies. So that's where so it's soft action because they're like transitioning kind of, and it begins an arc of like 3 movies too that lead up to the end of 7.
Beautiful. I'm excited.
But if you ever wanted to come back and join us, I would invite you back to watch Tokyo Drift, which has nothing to do with any of these movies.
I was shocked when I first heard that. I had no idea that we had a Halloween 3 in the situation.
We do, and if I would like to hear your takes, just based on our conversation of what the fuck happened in Tokyo Drift and how this fits in, and we could fill that out too. But if you ever wanted to come back and join us, I would say join us for Tokyo
Remarkable.
Drift.
Thank you so much.
I also want to give a very thank you first and foremost.
Yeah.
Number one, thank you, Alex. I also want to give a shout out to our patrons: Alex Ellen and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of Fatherhood, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Chase Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Galley, Josh Buckley of Whole Lotta Wolves,
Yep.
Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara Newman, Aaron Willows, and Natalie Absolute, Randy Carter, Josh Goularm, Alex Walsh, Jack Haley, and Jessica Collins, aka Montez. Thank you all for supporting the $5 a month level or above. New bonus episode coming out to you, I think, on Monday. You guys will all get Black Moon Rising, the Tommy Lee Jones movie from 1986 about a futuristic car. It rules.
Yeah.
It's so good. I talked about it with Larson this weekend. It's so good. We enjoy that. Too Fast, TooForever.com. Even $1 a month gets you in the door. But Alex, thank you again for joining us. Where can people find more of you if you want to be found online? Projects, socials, anything.
You Are Good, a Feelings podcast about movies. You can listen to that. You can listen to the OC again that I host with my friend Nico Stratus. Please listen to that. And I am, this is like a little while out, but last year I organized with my friend and collaborator Siri Dahl a 12-hour telethon in order to help raise funds for mutual aid for sex workers. And
Very
it's
cool.
Awesome.
it was specifically also to raise awareness about bad legislation around free speech. So I'm doing that
Amen.
again with Siri in late August. So just look out for Corn Telethon.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Corn Telethon is a good name too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Our next main feed episode, Another Life in the Fast Lane, Tokyo Drift, minute 15. Maybe Noodle Grandma. We'll see.
Maybe Noodle Grandma.
Maybe
He
just
doesn't
a full
even know.
minute inside the sad apartment or sad house, whatever, where Sean's dad lives. Who knows?
See, that's what I'm saying. Alex, okay.
Oh, my question to you, Joe, and we can talk about it more next week. Has anybody in the Discord guessed at the theme, the mystery movie coming up? Have you seen anybody guess or no?
No, nobody's guessed. My pick of mystery movie?
Yes, which we have not said what your pick is or why we're picking it.
Why we're picking it.
Alex, we will tell you afterwards, and it's a very straightforward thing. There's a thing coming up that makes sense within the show that we are doing a mystery movie, and we said if anybody in the Discord, not even a patron, but anybody in the Discord guesses what theme we're doing, they get to pick a movie that we watch. And no one so far has even guessed.
Should know.
They should know. So
yeah.
It's out there. The call is out there. But thank you, Alex, once again for joining.
Thank you so much, brother.
This is so fun. Thank you so much. I really just had a delightful time.
I'm glad you did.
It was great.
And for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever, and all of the socials, most of the socials, some of the socials. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com and our store at cageclub.me/shop. And come back next week for Life in the Fast Lane number 49. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too.
And that was Alex Steed, and we will tell you all about it
when we see you again.